Welcome to Nostalgia Pilots, a G Gundam fan cast that just lost its way is all. I'm Hugh.
I'm Jurd.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Spence.
And we're here to discuss Mobile Fighter G Gundam Episode 19, Fierce Battle, Dragon Gundam versus Bolt Gundam. And Team Bolt Gundam, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yep. Yeah. Now, we're saying Bolt Gundam for a very specific reason, and that is that Saisaichi, being a very young man, probably like, 12, 13? Maybe.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
Is acting like a 12 or 13-year-old, and making me especially want to reach into 2D animation and just strangle him.
Okay, listen, I have a couple of 12. I've experienced 12-year-olds. I've had 12-year-olds. And if my 12-year-old ever behaved like that, there would be trubs. It would not be me and my Shaolin life partner looking at each other and being like, what do we do? It would be hellfire coming down because, oh my goodness.
They're monks. They're specifically allowed to hit him. Like they're supposed to.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's back it up though. Let's back it up because we open with Rain as usual doing the actual hard jobs, and it's hilarious because she's sitting there. She's like in full nerd mode, dealing with the battle computer, reeling off, the Star Trek spiel, and then we cut kind of over to Doman over by the waterfall, and she's like, I gotta figure this out, especially how hard Doman's working. Idiot is just standing in front of a waterfall with a sword. Guys,
and trying to cut the waterfall and keep his balance. But before we go on to what he's doing, I have to wonder where Rain is getting all of these parts to fix the Gundam, because they are in the middle of nowhere. There is no ye old Circuit City.
Okay, yeah, I see your point, except for the fact that by the end of this episode, it's like downtown New York with everybody wandering around in this jungle. I don't know what's going on here.
Like
guys.
No, Rain is just abusing her Amazon Prime account here. Yeah, I need you to ship me all these giant spools of Gundam wires to Guyana.
Guys,
it's fine.
Look, guys, we talked about this like way back. It all comes out of her compact. That's like her utility belt. It has everything in it that she needs.
A teleporter in there? If so, I want one.
I mean, she literally has a bubble that can stop bullets, so she might.
Rain is fixing the Gundam. Domon is fighting a river again, and Schwartz is just standing around watching them being a stalker.
So, again, I said this before we started recording. This is the most anime of anime this anime has been. Like, because...
And by that you mean the cringiest, right? The cringiest this anime?
Yeah, because in true anime fashion, Schwartz is supposed to be teaching him how to achieve super mode, but he's literally just having him swing around a rusty sword to fight a waterfall.
Yeah, no, you make a point there too. I thought you were talking about the other aspect.
Oh no. Saisashi is also a part of the most anime part because
here's my thought to go on that, Jason, and that is in a lot of mastery type cultures, there are masters who will just show you how they do a thing, but you as the pupil are supposed to figure out why that works. And so that is where my mind goes with that explanation. Please continue.
So the thing is, I know, Spence, that you were mentioning in the chat pre-episode that this sword is becoming your fringe.
It is becoming the fringe. Okay, I'm going to do my rant now. For 30 seconds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is a sword. If you keep hitting solid things with a rusted, beat up, dinged up unloved, unoiled, unsharpened sword, it's not going to do shit except for continue to get busted up, rusted, and terrible. Why are you trying to slash a waterfall with a rusted, beat up sword? Do you want it to get more rusted? Do you want it to break? It is not going to help you accomplish your goal. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so
this is what I mean. It's the most anime of anime this show has gotten, because in anime it doesn't matter if your sword is rusted, chipped, half a sword, reverse blade. It doesn't matter, because technique surpasses all other things. Like, you don't need to be super strong. All you need is the most perfect technique. And even a dull, rusted trash sword can be as lethal as a sharp one. Like, it is the most asinine thing.
okay, but here's the thing. I think that I'm not unused to this sort of challenge being presented where, you know, Goku's got to be able to, I can't even remember what it was, but like lift the rock or whatever. And we all know that once he manages to lift the rock, that's when he's going to be able to get off the asteroid or whatever the situation is. You have these challenge states that they just kind of keep training for, the protagonist keeps training for, and then eventually they get there. My concern, the thing that annoys me is that usually there's a metaphor involved, or it's like, snatch this pebble from my hand, that kind of thing. There's no metaphor with this. It's just a sword. It's like, you will learn to fight when you learn to fight. That's not a metaphor. There's no inner insight there. It's just, yeah, when you know how to use a sword, you're going to be able to kill a guy. Oh, okay. Thanks, Coach.
And he just, and again, this is what kills me about Schwartz. He doesn't teach him anything. At least Master Asia sparred with him. At least Master Asia showed him katas and forms and taught him how to do that weird thing where he puts his head on a fireball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Schwartz literally is standing there being a German ninja shinobi and doing nothing.
Well, he does watch Saishi wander by, and I don't even know what was going. Like, that was so
Okay.
So we get Saisashi jumping off the cliff, running from his two Shaolin dads, and to not fall into the water where Domon is training, he grabs onto Rain while she's trying to do work, and then proceeded to interact with her in the most anime of anime ever by having, and I think this is the first time it's happened in any of these Gundam shows we've done, but a full-on panty shot in this show.
Yeah.
And of course, that is the exact moment that Domon turns around and becomes beet red.
The only part about this scene that I actually liked was the fact that Domon, for fucking once, showed some sort of compassion. Like, he blushed and turned away. But again, in the most anime of anime fashions, she has to blame Domon for peaking. Like, one, like you had a choice in this situation, and two, like Domon had a choice. Let's be fair, Saisashi is a terror.
Yeah, he yelled, Domon looked up, and then that's the thing that happened.
Oh, but it doesn't stop there, right? Because
No.
he plows through, and the Shaolin parents show up, and they're like, "Oh, our boy." And then he ends up at the Russian camp where, sorry, do we know her name?
Commandant
Natasha.
Natasha.
Yeah, Natasha is bathing in the nude, as it were, for some reason. And he just stumbles into her, and it's a follow-up. At least she has the good common sense to pull out a handgun and try to murder him.
Yeah,
Well-
she definitely shoots at this kid and tries to end his life.
Yeah, that's basically the same. It's basically the same sequence as the bathing sequence in 08th MS Team, except the one watching is a child and the person bathing is an adult, which is not quite better, but it's kind of better. I guess
it's better because at least it's the fact that a child, like a young teen, like obviously just hitting puberty, been in seclusion and away from all the world to do this thing, is expressing himself and doing this thing. Because, one of the things I'm studying in class is psychology, and they say these type of things are natural, but it doesn't make it right.
No.
Like, it's natural, and obviously a teenage boy would absolutely watch this. But it doesn't make it right. And do I feel like she should have attempted assassinating him? Absolutely. Because as people know me from many podcasts that I do, I'm all for child murder in my shows. Child murder is fun.
But also, she's expecting that somebody is trying to assassinate her at all times. That is the way Neo-Russia is.
So,
Actually, speaking of Neo-Russia, I did want to shout out to the fact that, for whatever reason they're here, did we get an explanation? Anyway, I'll get to that in a second.
She said, she does say that she's there to surveil Domo and Cashew to find more information about the Devil Gundam, because she's like, oh wait, this is a way bigger security threat, because it almost ate me.
Yeah, okay, fine.
The Neo-Russian government does not believe that it's a threat, and the big propaganda is that it is a mass hallucination. So she is trying to get proof.
I actually liked the fact we're getting a little ahead, but once they get to the part where they're jockeying about if the two are going to fight or not, I liked that she was thinking in political terms of like, oh well, if they fight and we win, that'll give me greater leverage on this. I wish there was more of that kind of political thing and less of like, hey, look at this child exposing people's panties. Anyway.
Okay. So this is the scene where Saisashi literally runs into Argo, and
like George of the Jungle right into a tree.
Yes. And I will say that as much as I hate the trope of the little kid who's a pervert, I do kind of love the big, strong, silent guy who's got a lot of stuff going on underneath.
Yeah.
Like, Argo is playing that one to the hilt this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I will give the episode much credit, because Saisashi is a child, and he's been put under all this pressure to be the icon of his country. He's also been sequestered away doing martial arts and the Shaolin stuff. And then he just basically got mind violated by a weird demon robot and sent to fight his friends and live through a very traumatic experience. So for him to have PTSD is fine. In fact, he should go see a counselor.
Yeah, I do have a couple of notes about that, because there is that sequence with the eyes sort of hovering over him and he almost falls. So
yeah, he sees the threat of and I don't even remember what actually starts their fight other than him being like, oh, Argo, you're so tough. Come on, fight me. And then as they're fighting, he perceives an actual threat. And then it turns into the Devil Gundam.
Argo picks him up by the collar and puts him on his feet. And there is some back and forth between Saisashi and Natasha. And then he runs off and he starts picking a fight with Argo, and Argo's just kind of standing there looking at him. And then I don't know if he just senses the anger in his eyes, because Argo has angry eyes, but
he's just drawn that way.
Yeah. Also, he's a badass space pirate.
Yeah.
True.
He can't stop making that face. So Argo freaks out and falls off a cliff.
Yeah, and Argo gets upset and worried that he's gonna hurt himself. We just not 30 seconds ago saw him jump off a cliff unharmed.
Well, he's not unharmed, because the next time we see him, he's being bandaged up by Rain and complaining about it.
Yeah, but I mean, the first one when he jumped off the cliff and forced Rain to flash Domon, he was completely unscathed. But yet this one, he falls off a cliff into the water and is beaten severely. And he blames Argo.
What we're supposed to glean is that the ineffectiveness of Saisai's kick communicated to Argo that his spirit is broken.
Yeah, I guess because
they're fighters, so they can communicate with their fists.
Yeah, and I guess because he kicked him, and I guess he didn't feel his whole spirit in that kick, he knew he was hurt or whatever.
But Domon launched the full.
Maybe it had something to do with the fact. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that it was like a 250-pound pure muscle Russian, a 12-year-old. I don't know. I do notice that there's way more speedline freeze frames when Saisaichi's around. Like, I don't seem like we get that at all until he's sprinting off somewhere. And it was actually...
I guess because they want to show that he's like the fastest among them, right? Like, because he's got all his kung fu skills.
Right. And so, yes, so we have him getting bandaged up, and we have the other camp, and there's a bunch of back and forth. And then it's the Dragon Gundam, right? He shows up in the Dragon Gundam to challenge him to a fight, and Natasha's like, fire some warning shots. And they just attempt to murderize that Gundam. Like, they just open fire.
Well, because he challenges Argo to a Gundam fight, and Argo's like, no, go away.
And, my thing is, Argo took his kick when he wasn't in the Gundam. So at least you could have accepted the fight, because at least the Gundams are on par, right? Like,
well, so here's the thing, is that he specifically says more than once, and in this interaction of the first challenge, he says, I will not fight you in your condition. I don't know if he knows that Saisaichi is hurt, but he could definitely see that Saisaichi was not right in his mind. So that is one thing that I really liked about Argo's interaction in this moment, is that he's trying to be honorable even though he's a space pirate.
And then Natasha, her line is like, wait, it was you who were the intruder earlier. Open fire.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, you guys are the crew around the Gundam pilot and his Gundam. Do you really think these AK-47s or whatever the hell they are going to do anything against the Gundam?
Well,
anything?
The thing is that all the feedback is transmitted to the pilot from the mobile trace system. So that's not going to hurt the Gundam, but Sai's going to feel that.
Yeah, but then again, they get the shit beat out of them all the time. I think he'll be okay. Also, if Domon can grab bullets, why can't Saisashi?
He doesn't have main character powers.
You know who's really hurt in this sequence? The poor people of Guyana, who did not invite any of these jerks to their country, who are now in firefights and cutting up their waterfalls. Or at least
we never see the Neo Guyana Gundam fighter.
No, we don't, do we? We don't see their Gundam fighter at all. So were
it's
they
basically listen, it's basically as far as they're concerned, it's basically an unpopulated jungle. Like, there's no other inhabitants here for whatever reason. It's just this waterfall is the entirety of Guyana.
So my thing is, were they just choosing to train in Guyana, or were they maybe looking for the Gundam fighter to challenge him? Because remember, guys, there is supposed to be some sort of competition going on.
The original reasoning...
They were just looking for the country that looked most like a Dragon Ball background.
Okay, yes, maybe in the production studio. The in-universe reason is that it's where he trained with Master Asia, right? So they're going back to where he originally learned. For some reason, him and Master Asia were there training. Anyway, so all of that, there's a bunch of back and forth, and the Shaolin monks want to make them fight so that Saisaichi will have, his fighting spirit restored or whatever. And the Russians continue to balk until, oh no, there's an attack on the camp.
Yeah, and we see the faint shadow of what looks like the Dragon Gundam walking away. And so immediately they send Argo to stop him, I guess. I don't know why you would send Argo. Like, is there like a rules commission that you can appeal to and be like, hey man, they attacked us and did all this stuff? Like, or is it just a free for all, right? Like, they're just brawling?
I think in theory there's a rules commission. In practice, it's a free for all unless a quadruple set of playing card themed giant robots appear and tell you you violated the rules. The spirit of warfare.
Anybody else, I would probably be like, oh yeah, why would he go do that? But Argo's a prisoner, so he's just doing what he's told. Like, there's government directives being told, and he's like, all right, well, I guess it's gonna knock a couple years off my sentence.
Fine.
Yeah, okay. He's like, and again, he's the space pirate with a heart of gold.
So he does get into a fight with Saisaishi again, and I'm gonna tell you, okay, back and forth, standard fight stuff. The flags thing is still not selling me. Like, that is not a move that I'm like, oh yeah, bring out the flags.
Also, I need to know what his upgrade's going to be, because Domon's got super mode. Chimney Crockett got his I can punch rivers and mountains thing. Like he basically got the punches from Fist of the North Star.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be gymnastic ribbons made of lasers.
You say that.
Yes! Oh God! Oh, I forgot. Thank you for that reminder.
So the Bolt Gundam he's using a sort of flail on a chain, and he gets himself tied, essentially using, I don't know, flags as a pinball machine.
Okay, so Sai's using his like flag spear things, and Argo releases his ball and laser chain, and somehow, like, Saisaishi uses his special technique that like traps you, and then you don't know where he's coming from to get above him, and like there's this really complicated sequence of events that felt very Rube Goldberg-y to me.
Yeah.
And somehow it ends up with, and I would love to see how the physics of this are supposed to work, but somehow Argo ends up like tied to a rock with his own ball and chain.
And I will give this episode mad props here. The animation for Argo breaking free of this and tearing off the Bolt Gundam's arm so that he can meet Saisashi in one more climactic clash to get the stalemate going is really, really good.
That was definitely, to me, the sequence that was the most effective in this episode.
We also get at the beginning of this fight the reveal that what's really been going on the whole time is that the two monks have been trying to get Saisaishi to, like, much like the girls in the last episode, they wanted Saisaishi to pick a fight with a strong opponent because he was in a funk post domination by the Devil Gundam. Because apparently, like, the way therapy works is the first day of therapy, you find the biggest psychologist you can find and you beat the crap out of him.
I mean, that checks out. Isn't that machismo 101?
I mean, if this was a Gona Guy work, possibly.
Guys, if you just strap a wrench to your brain, you don't need a psychologist.
That is true. I mean, as we've discovered, wrenches fix all problems and bodily injuries. I'm surprised Rain didn't strap a wrench to Saisashi's ribs when he was injured from his fall.
Okay,
we didn't see what's under that bandage.
I will say that I thought it was pretty funny that so the No Good Nicks show up after the two Gundams have basically fought each other to a standstill and are no longer usable. And of course, Doman hops in his suit. He's going to go off to fight, and then it turns out, oh no, Windows didn't finish updating. he can't fire up his suit.
Yeah, like
so the way that they described it, it sounds like his senses were in hyper. He was hypersensitive to everything. Is how it seemed, and how I think they explained it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that translates to the worst migraine I've ever had. And every scent, every sound, every motion, everything that's touching me just feels too much. So I, for once, empathized with what Domon might be going through.
See, I think I was taken in more by the visual, which was basically he was getting electrocuted. And that kind of...
The visual is that Rain has this set up to, like, air fryer.
But, of course, Doman does manage to overcome, and he goes into Golden Finger mode and manages to destroy exactly one bad guy after the German ninja robot has destroyed literally dozens.
Again, I know Master Asia's the big bad, but the German ninja hasn't taught him shit. Like, he's not doing a single thing.
Yeah, because he has such strong older brother energy.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If I didn't already know the fact that he's his older brother, that would be my biggest tip. Like, oh yeah, you going to do it? Go do it. Go do it, baby. You going to cut that waterfall? Go cut the waterfall, baby.
Oh my God, I need a scene where he's holding Domon down and he's got the back end of the rusty sword and he's just tapping him in the head with it going, why can't you cut anything? Why can't you cut anything? Huh? You
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Yes, I need it because, I mean, it would be more effective versions of training than what he's doing now by just telling Domon how much he sucks. Like, over and over, like, oh, you can't cut that thing with that sword yet? I cut that tree down with it. What's wrong with you, dude? Sounds to me like you suck. What happened to your super mode, Domon?
Well, the frustrating thing to me is that each episode they keep like discussing how they should be proceeding, which is, oh, we should kind of pair off and just train with each other because we seem to really get a lot of good techniques going that way. But every time they get around to that consideration, they just sort of wander off. Like Jibity's like, oh yeah, great training session, bro.
And again, Machismo 101. You never ask for help. Now, let's talk about the female component of all of these groups. If they were in charge, they probably would have said, "Hey, you know what might be good is if you guys like train together and then come up with some combo moves and then strengthened each other's weaknesses and da 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 da." But no one listens to Rain. No one listens.
The other thing is that they are competitors.
Yeah, well,
but even Major League Baseball team, even wrestlers, even any kind of competitive sport, they still have training sessions where they go at each other for training purposes.
Well, see, here's where the weird tension of the show is picking up, right? Because we're sliding back towards, oh, this is a tournament and you have to fight other people. And really, is it the Devil Gundam is going to destroy the planet, or is it that I need to win this UFC tournament? Because I'm not sure that we can...
Can we do both? Can we win with the power of Eurovision?
Also, you guys are supposed to be the new leaders of this thing. You guys were given these weird tattoos to be a part of the Shuffle Alliance. Why can't you work together? Like, come on.
They've contracted for a specific number of episodes, and we're not there
yet. Yep.
Are we at our favorite moments, though?
I think we are at our favorite moments. My favorite moment was, like, it's a dumb joke, but I loved it. Like, when Rain and the two monks are watching them fight, and the two monks are like, yes, this isn't how we planned it, but now Saishi is going to fight this strong opponent, and he'll become stronger, and he'll break his funk, and Rain's just like, what if he loses? And they're like, oh shit, we didn't think of that.
And then they put their heads together and start crying. Yeah, that was a great part.
They're a great couple, but they're terrible parents.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're gonna have a long discussion about thinking out these plans that they make because they're putting their child at risk, or at least I hope they do have this conversation. My favorite part would have to be Lady Russian Dominatrix choosing violence. She woke up and chose violence when she felt like she was being spied upon. And I thought it was pretty great because it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, typically in anime, like, you would have a scene like what happened with Rain, where Rain blushes and it's like, you peeked. And he's like, and she blushes and that's the scene. No. Not with Lady Russian Dominatrix. She immediately chose violence and goes for the kill. And I'm happy with that. It's very Lady Un of her, and it makes me happy.
I also have a favorite part that includes Commandant Natasha, because so she has a moment where she's like kind of breaking down after the whole peeping incident when she's dressed in everything. Because after Argo says, no, I'm not going to fight you to Saishi in his Gundam, he starts walking away saying, oh, it's too noisy here. I need some quiet. And she has this moment where she's like, you are still a prisoner. Don't walk away from me. And she's holding her crop, and her crop is shaking in her hand. And I thought that that was a really good animation and a good way to show her like feeling the strain of not having total control anymore. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, they have some brilliant moments of animation and just little bits of detail. Again, like with Chibbity Crockett and his crew, like I enjoy the nuance that they have amongst them. Like I feel like they would have probably been a better group of main characters for this show versus Domon and Rain.
Well, actually, my favorite moment is another little detail from Neo Russia. It's actually, we pan back and we see that Neo Russia has like a full crew. They're not just one Rain out there, you know, calling in parts from Amazon. There's dozens of people out there. They've got backup supplies. Like they're actually operating like this is a thing. It felt much more realistic to what you would require to maintain this battle suit.
As we've seen with Russia, they're not playing. Like, I know it was kind of mean of them to be kidnapping Gundam pilots and making them slaves to work on the Gundam, but it shows you that Russia's in this 100%. Russia's like, we want to win regardless. Whereas Japan is kind of like, meh, you're a good fighter.
We don't need to. It's fine.
Yeah.
And just before we check out, I did want to touch on one more thing, which is the bad guys in this episode have a little bit of an upgrade. Like they've got a little devil tail going on with their pink eye action. But what's with the pink eye? Like we really could have done without this pink eye mode. I don't understand why we all...
That's because they are able to camouflage themselves as other Gundams. And so the pink eye really distinguishes that, these are the bad guys.
Right, the characteristic.
The dragon tail is because they were trying to emulate Saisaichi in order to get this combat to happen. Chaos.
Yeah, okay. No, you know what? You've absolutely sold me. As the definitive characteristic that always points out, pink eye is always something I'm going to be like, ugh, stay away from that.
So you can find all of our show notes over at nostalgiapilots.com. Follow us on the podcatcher of your choice, and now also on YouTube. / Nostalgia Pilots for all our episodes. Find everything I do over at HughJO'Donnell.com.
You can find everything I do over at Skinner.fm.
You can find everything I do at nerdswithvoices.com.
And while most of my socials are Resonant Moon, you can find most of what I do on TikTok at spence.resonant.moon.
And until next week, have I been doing not right?
Oh my God. No.